Hey everybody, welcome back to episode 6 of the Arizona Birdwatchers. With you as always is my name Troy, and of course,
my name is Dave here with the Arizona Birdwatchers, and we had a good time birdwatching this weekend, Troy.
Yeah, we went out and checked a cool bar out, went over to Spokes. They had a nice little couch set up. We had some mimosas, living the dream and everything like that, dude. It was a good all-around good time.
And the Cardinals rolled this week, man. I mean, it was such a great game to have a beer at, relax, have a mimosa, relax, have another mimosa. You know, it's one of those games you just had to celebrate a little bit.
Yes, completely, man. And when you're watching a game like that, I don't think there's any way to have a bad time. I think pretty much anything that goes on at that point is going to be a good time. So today we want to get started with our fun facts, a little interesting trivia about Dave and myself, just to kind of let you guys know a little bit about us. And we try to keep it pretty football-centered. Dave, what do you got for us?
Well, I have a piece of irony in and of itself. I have a signed, and we'll get into him later, but I have a signed Michael Vick dog, Nerf football dog chew toy. Signed, Michael Vick.
Beautiful, dude. And did you get? And that was before or after that everything went down?
It was before. It's at Atlanta Falcons. 2004 signed Nerf football.
Oh, yeah, I gotta listen better. Yeah, dude, that's pretty much way cooler than mine. My fun fact for this week is that I made 3 points away from the correct prediction last week. I guess 45 to 17, and it was 42 to 17.
Oh my gosh, Troy, you got to pat yourself on the back, or you know what? Here, I'm close enough. I'll pat for you, man. That is impressive, my man. And I mean, as a media person partial to the Cardinals, that even says more about our Cardinals victory and how close your prediction was. I mean, Carson Palmer, he is 96 for 148. I mean, look, the Cardinals have 183 points in the first 5 games of the season, the 7th most in NFL history. They're leading the lead in scoring right now. How can we not be partial?
Oh, man, of course. This has been such a magical thing to do so far this season, and like just watching Carson like do all this thing, all this magic he's been working. So far in the season, he's 90 of 148 for 64.9%, 1,316 yards, 13 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and that's 114 passer rating. I mean, those are almost like the kind of stats you get on Madden. You know what I mean? If you're out there playing Madden and you make your QB.
No, that's like Madden if you secretly go into the cheating roster pages and knock all his skill points to 99.
That like your all Madden team would have Carson Palmer on it now, like with the season he's had in the first 5 games so far. In this last game too, Carson, he had a 154.2 QB rating, and that's the highest of his career, hands down. And in this last game, this was the first time the Cardinals have had a 99-yard touchdown drive since 2001. I think this is pretty much one of my favorite stats that we have right here. 28 points by the second quarter. So the 28 points when we went on that big run in the second quarter. That was the most. That was the first time that it happened since 1987.
Wow, man. I mean, dude, this offense is special. We're clicking on all cylinders, and this is just after week 5. So this is just special to see Carson hitting. I mean, at a point where he had doubters, man. He had doubters left and right coming into the season.
Oh, yeah, he's had doubters since we picked him up from Oakland. You know, everybody thought he was washed up, and they knew he could still fling the ball around, but they just didn't know what kind of guy he is. And I think he's come to Arizona, dude. He's just been the absolute definition of a veteran. He's come in, he's humble, he works hard. We also have to remember he had an ACL tear last season, which can be career-ending to some guys, but Carson is just such a work-focused, hard-working son of a bitch.
Time and time again, thanks to injuries, he gets pegged as a bottom 10 quarterback in this league, and he is not a bottom 10, man. He is a top 10 quarterback, and he has proved it time and time again when he is healthy, and thank God he's healthy right now. I mean, he's playing beautiful football.
Yeah, man, in this game, I think we just saw, like, Premier Carson. You know, he was spreading the ball around well. That first touchdown pass that he had to Darren Fells was, like, He dropped a dime on him, dude. He like split right over two defenders, only where Fells could get it, and then he looked like a pro playing out there against college players. And same thing when he hit that Smokey Brown touchdown, dude. When he hit it, John Brown, he split two defenders right in the middle. Speedy, John Brown. He like knew exactly what second John Brown was going to be exactly where he was, and that's the way he threw that ball, and it was beautiful.
Right, and splits the defenders. I mean, sandwiches that ball right in there for Brown to catch. I mean, it was just gorgeous football. I mean, the air game is not our only dimension that was clicking on all cylinders. I mean, Chris Johnson, man, that dude was going off. I mean, it was safe to say, we have a three-headed monster who can come at you in three distinct running styles. I mean, we got CJ1K as a workhorse. He can get us down the field. We got Ellington as, here is Red Jesus is the spicy pepper. And then David Johnson, he's the haymaker, man. He's the guy who comes and he bangs it out in the red zone and he gets us that touchdown, man. And if all three of these guys are healthy, it is going to make one hell of a running game.
Oh, completely agree, man. And it's just that everyone is going to have to scheme so strong against us because we're coming at you from all angles. Chris Johnson, Andre Ellington, David Johnson. Those guys are just, unstoppable force of nature right there. And then we got this little guy. Maybe you've heard of him. He's about 130 years old. Larry Fitzgerald. He's also having another magical season. Something we haven't seen from Larry in a very long time. 5 receptions, 58 yards, and a touchdown in this game. So the yards, not astronomical like we've seen, but still, he had that 26-yard beautiful run where he came a yard away from the end zone. And Larry, Carson's like, you know what? We're going to let Larry finish this off, and he hits him with the 1-yard slant the very next play. And I think that was you. You said that at the bar, right, about how he just had to finish off Carson?
Right. How he had to finish off, and Larry deserved that touchdown. So Carson knew that and pegged it right in Fitzgerald's chest, man. It was beautiful.
Yes. And then John Brown, dude, Smokey Brown. We haven't seen a lot of him in the past 3 games, really since the first game of the season. And, Cardinals were driving down at the end of the second half, and he hit John Brown for a beautiful 49-yard bomb, a catch that, I personally thought was going to the end zone. He just tripped up a little bit. And it was also nice to see Darren Fells get back in there, man. We haven't seen him since the first game. And he had that first beautiful pass from Carson to the end zone. And, like I said, that was just a ball only he could catch. I think all around, we looked really good on offense. We're coming at you in every which way we could. And, we did so well that Drew Stanton got put in the third quarter.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Drew Stanton was my favorite player to see on the field that day. Coming into the third quarter, he looks great. And not that he looks great, just that we look great, man.
Oh, yes, completely agree, man. And just to get to put it on him like that and get the opportunity for our second-string guys to get some live game action against some number ones, so they're not thrown right into the mix, right into the fire. I think defensively we look sharp too. We talk about our offense so much because it's just so prolific. We're having a top tier defense this year, and you almost don't even notice because you're so focused on the offense and everything they got going on.
You're absolutely right, Troy. We have 4 interceptions and 2 fumbles caused in this game against Detroit. We only let Detroit in the red zone 2 times. 2 times we recorded a sack, but we hit the QB 11 times that game. And a game that only was a game for 3 quarters.
Yeah, 3 quarters is even giving them a lot. Maybe after the second quarter, after 28-7, everything started. Everybody was, or 35-7. Everybody's like, okay, let's pump the brakes here a sec. Let's see what's going on. And something I loved about this game, just because from like a pride rule, is we made Stafford look so bad. They had to go to their 32-year-old backup quarterback who, I don't even think the coaching staff knew they had a backup quarterback, but his name is Dan Orlovsky. And, he did all right. He got a couple big passes to Johnson, but come on.
He's coming up, man. He's coming up. It was good to see him too, man. It's good to see all our second stringers. And then another fun fact that I learned is about the mercy rule. And it's when we can go into our victory formation when the opposing team has 3 timeouts on the clock and they don't even call them. They just let it run out.
Yeah, man, that was that had to be the highlight of the game for me. There was a lot of highlights, but something about like letting a team just watch the clock go down with 3 timeouts left. They just like, you know what? I think we've had enough. Our butts can only take so much.
Dude, you are so right about that, man. We kicked the Lions' butt. I don't know if we can say ass in this. I mean, I guess it's up to us, but we kicked their butts. That's for sure. And I bet they were talking about it. I bet they were proud. I bet they were kind of maybe talking about it a little bit on social media. And so we're going to talk about the Cardinals, the Dirty Birds activity on social media. And this is something we call Bird Chirps. And it covers all the social media. So, Troy, let's get into it. What's on Bird Chirps this week?
All right, man. Some of my favorite stuff. So I have to admit, this idea was my little baby here, because I, like a creepy fan, follow the most obscure Cardinals on all social media that they exist on. So I thought, let's find some interesting stuff about it and share with you guys. So this week, apparently, Drew Stanton lost his QB bucket drill competition that all the quarterbacks have. And so when they were flying out to West Virginia, he had to dress up as a red hair tipped Paulie from Jersey Shore. And Carson's so old school, he finally got a Facebook and an Instagram about a month ago. Posted a picture of Drew Stanton posing on the plane and all red frosty tipped out and all.
Wait, what? Frosty tipped and all? Oh my gosh, we're going to have to post this with the video.
Yeah, that's a great idea. We'll put that in the video. So if you watch the whole thing and you get to this part, we'll put a little clip of Drew Stanton in right there. You guys will see the picture. Another great follow is Mike Leach, our long snapper. That's literally the only job this guy has on the team. And he hardly ever tweets, but his profile pic alone is enough for him to follow.
You're right, and you told me about that, so I went and looked it up. He's head over heels for his Twitter picture. Let's just put it like that. And yeah, the other funny thing is he also gets mistaken frequently for the head coach of Washington State, Mike Leach, college football coach Mike Leach. And there was some tweet about how Mike Leach and how he got tagged in the post about how Mike Leach should have been the University of Maryland Terps head coach all along. And this Mike Leach, our long snapper Mike Leach, tweets that you know what, he wasn't offered the job, so he's just going to stay with the Cardinals because that's his best option right now.
Dude, I saw that and I didn't get it, and I was like, maybe he really was offered a thing. I'm glad you filled that in for me. I had no idea. Another good one I saw, so there's this, I guess he's a Cardinals fan, his name is Mike Helm, and he tweeted to Tyrann Mathieu the secondary stats in the game, and I guess the secondary had 48 tackles, 4 loss, 3 interception, and 2 forced fumbles. They recovered one of those fumbles, and they had a sack, and the Honey Badger replied to this guy, he said, "Keep calm, we'll be back," which to me, kind of just sounds like there's more to the show. You know what I mean? You just saw the beginning of the movie.
Oh my God, is this defense just scratching the surface now? Is that what we're hearing? We can't do this, man. I can't even. We're white girls now. We can't even.
Completely agree. I'm running out of evens. Another really good one that I liked, really funny guy, was from J-Ron Brown. And, he didn't do much in the game, but he did have that awesome touchdown duo dance with John Brown. Him and Smokey Brown were doing the touchdown dance together. And J-Ron tweeted, "I just hope I don't have a fine waiting for me come Tuesday." And the best part about that was Tony Jefferson replied to that, and he said, "Bruh, if you have problems with your rent, don't worry, I got you."
Oh my gosh, that's awesome, man. Well, hey, man, he did have great dance moves, and so I will happily take that as his part. But the only person I can't imagine being happy with those dance moves is Bruce Arians, and because he's that competitor, he wants that competitive edge, and this is a machine for Bruce. And dancing in the end zone probably isn't part of that machine. So let's move on with our segment about Bruce Arians, called Arianisms, where we go through the week and find his greatest quote. So, Troy, Bruce Arians and his Arianisms, what is it this week?
There were so many, and I have to give an honorary mention to one he did during practice during the week, where I'm going to quote this terribly, but basically a reporter asked him, "What do you guys think about that loss? Was that loss a fluke? Is that loss messing with your guys' head? Are you dwelling on it?" And Bruce was basically like, "No, we don't think about that stuff. That was last week. We're on to this week. That's for you guys to think about and drink beers about and stuff like that."
Yeah, he does not wallow too much. He's a machine, like I said.
And what's the point, especially, when we come into this week? So this week's Arianism is, so after, Tyrann, the interception bounced off Tyrann's chest, and he gave it to Johnson. Bruce asked Honey Badger in the game, what are you doing sharing, letting him bounce off your chest? Other guys are getting angry and like you to share. So basically he just picked at Tyrann a little bit for, letting that one bounce off him.
Yeah, like almost being an assist for an interception instead of the interception itself.
Yeah, completely. I mean, there was that rap song not too long ago called the tip drill, and I guess tip the ball to your partner.
I wouldn't be surprised if Bruce was in a fantasy football league that had individual defensive players on it, because I bet he wanted Tyrann to get that pick.
Oh yeah, that's obviously his drive for everything he's doing on this team. That's why one week Larry's the stud, the next week Smokey Brown's a stud. Michael Floyd's not on his team, so he's not giving him any frock.
Right. It's just whoever you follow on Bruce Arians' ad drop list is who's going off on that week.
Completely agree. And speaking of people going off, I want to get into our next segment here that we call Game Ball and Up Downs. This is where we like to hand out the game ball to who Dave and I think was the best player of the game, and we like to assign some up downs to the person in a group we think did the worst in the game. So, David, who do you think we got the game ball to give to?
Well, man, it was the guy that we gave up downs to last week. He was the guy that hurt us, and that man is David Johnson. He's our perfect goal line back, especially against the Lions. He had 2 goal line runs, 2 touchdowns. I really do think he's the future of our backfield. And so far this season, he's the second rookie to ever have 2 rushing, 2 receiving, and 1 kick return touchdown in the last 5 games. That is special.
By the second game, his jersey was in Canton. It was in the Hall of Fame, his cleats and jersey. And he played 2 NFL games his whole career. I think the biggest takeaway from that, though, is that David Johnson is obviously a big fan of the show. He's obviously tuning in to, listen to what we have to say, and he heard us. So, David Johnson, good job, bro. I'm proud of you for listening, and you brought it this week. Keep listening, man. Keep listening. Now for the part of the show where we give the up-downs. So this is basically this week. It was hard to find, after such a great game, it's hard to find someone you think did not do well. I'm going to do the O-line for this week, only because they caused 3 penalties in the game. We had 8 all around, and 3 of them were on the O-line. And it was really funny. Aaron's kind of backed me up in this in the post-game interview. He was quoted as saying the Lions' performance was average this game, which is, in a way, also pretty scary.
Yeah, pretty funny when the O-line is saving Carson. I mean, how many sacks did he get? He only had 1 sack on him this game. That's decent. And I mean, look, we're always looking for places to improve. And if our offensive line is that place to improve, that's fine. Because they've even been a strong point earlier in the season, and we're getting veterans coming back with Upati. I mean, this is going to just improve our offensive line with Arians kind of lighting a fire under them.
Completely agree, man. And, everyone's been playing really well at a high level. So this is an up-down situation where we do it because we wrote it as a segment, and so we have to do it every show. So we'll give it to the O-line. No more dumb penalties. Let's be a smart, disciplined team. Which one of our O-line do you think listen? I feel like maybe Senline listens. I feel like if any one of the offensive line listens to this show, I'm going to guess Lyle Senline, just because he's a lower end guy. He's probably the lowest end star on the offensive line.
Oh, come on, man. I think Upati listens. Don't sell yourself short. I think this whole offensive line is listening, just like David Johnson listened. You know what? We're going to be giving the game ball after the Steelers game to the offensive line. I have no doubt. So we'll see what they come up with.
Yes, good. So now I'd like to go into our next segment. This is one of my favorite new segments we're doing here. It's our Under the Nest player, which is basically where we just give you a little information, talk a lot about a player that might not be as known, might not be such a household name as a Cardinal. And this week we're going to be doing Britton Golden, wide receiver, mostly a special team star. He's a third-year Cardinal. He's from West Texas A&M, not regular Texas A&M, West Texas A&M. He went undrafted in the 2012 draft. He was originally signed with the Bears. He joined us in 2013, and he spent his first 2 years with us on the practice squad. Almost made it last year, didn't, and this is the first year he's been put on the active roster.
So now, Troy, what do you see in Britton Golden? Why do you think this is going to be his breakout season?
Yeah, I think, well, one, just how much our offense, how much of an aerial attack we have, that we have to use every speedy weapon we have. He's a really speedy wide receiver. What he's really done well and why he's earning his spot, he's a solid special teams player. He's a dangerous returner in punt and kick returns. And I've seen him lined up back there to return some kicks with David Johnson, too. So I think, if he gets a chance to get his hands on the ball, I think he can make some stuff happen. And, I just like watching this guy's game. I like watching him progress. He's another guy I follow on Instagram, and he's always a really positive guy, really thankful for the opportunity that he's getting. And you know what, dude? He may play 5 downs all year on the offense and get a Super Bowl ring out of it.
No, you're absolutely right. And, he's got a great wide receiving core to learn from and compete with. He's got great rookies to compete against and then great legends to learn from, such as Larry.
Yes, man. Any wide receiver that's come through us, has gotten a lot of benefit of just learning what it means to be a teammate, because Larry is just the definition of a teammate. He's just such a cool dude, man. He's, no drama in the media. Everything he does is he's always presenting the best version of himself, and that's one thing I really love. Really, that change happened when Kurt Warner came on the team, made him from this egotistical, typical wide receiver to the teammate he is now. And when we talk about Kurt Warner, we got to talk about Pittsburgh.
Our heartbreak Super Bowl team, man. You are absolutely right. Who we play this week, it's going to be a big game. Although Pittsburgh's going through some changes, man. Ben Roethlisberger is injured. They've got Michael Vick coming off the bench there. If you said that in 2004, people would look at you like you've smoked something weird. But he's come off. He's got 369 total yards this season. 203 of them came against that Monday night game against the Chargers, where he threw a touchdown and interception already. So far, 3 weeks of a Michael Vick offense has, been underwhelming. It has just not been that impressive. They're leaning strongly on Le'Veon Bell, who's got 211 yards this season. He's also got 3 touchdowns. This isn't an impressive offense.
No, and, which is in a way sad for the Steelers. I have no pity for the Steelers. I hope every season turns out like this for them, and they have all these stars that have to sit and watch their team live in mediocrity. They have Antonio Brown, who's, one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, and Le'Veon Bell, who's, one of the best running backs in the NFL. The only person who's really benefiting from Michael Vick being in is Le'Veon Bell, he got those 211 yards and 3 touchdowns in only 3 games that he's played. So the guy's been on fire since he's been back, and he's really been carrying this team.
The one worry we do have to have about the Steelers is they have beaten our fellow division rivals in the 49ers and Rams. Beat the Rams, who have beat us 12-6, and then they beat the Niners. They blew out the Niners, who we also did too. The Niners are terrible this season. I just love to say how bad and terrible the 49ers are. Did you hear they're bad?
Yeah, get it in there anytime you can, man. And I just hope Colin Kaepernick decides to retire and go back to ballet dancing.
There we go. Yeah, I'd pay for him to quit and just go to ballet dancing. That'd be beautiful. Hopefully he comes here to the Gammage.
Yeah, that'd be fun to watch him in Les Mis or something. The one side of the team that, is a little bit better than the rest, especially in, Roethlisberger's absence, is their defense. They're 5th in the NFL in yards allowed, but they only have 2 interceptions and 2 fumbles all year. But they do have 12 sacks, so they have a really strong front 7. I think this will be another big test for our offense. This is probably one of the better defenses we have played this year. And they've just been great. They've been doing, they're going to be a solid test for our offensive line. Chris Johnson going up against another strong defense. So it'll be good to see what our run game can do against a better front 7.
Absolutely. So it's going to be a big challenge this week. But, let's go into our predictions, man. It's at Heinz Field. We are down there over there at the East Coast this week, training in West Virginia. So it's not going to be too big of a travel difference. They've got a Monday night game, and then they've got us on Sunday. So a short week for them. And we've been training and focusing on nothing but this game. So
yes. So all those things hopefully work in our favor. I'm going to say, from my prediction this week, that it's going to be Oh God, these games end up usually being really good too. I'm gonna say Cardinals 31, Pittsburgh 13.
I sadly think this is a low scoring game. I think it's 21-17. I think it's a 4-point game. I think Vic has been warming up. He had a really good game on Monday. So we'll see how that converts and how he progresses this week. I still think we're gonna go in and do our business, but I do think the Steelers are gonna be a challenge like they always are.
Yes, yeah, and as Bruce has been saying, we got to stack those wins now. So make sure to check that game out. That's going to be in Pittsburgh at Heinz Field, 10 a.m. Arizona time on Fox. And I want to thank you guys for tuning in again this week. I want to give a special shout out this week to Cards Corner and Arizona Bird Gang. Those are two solid Cards fan pages on Facebook, and they've been really nice in helping us share the podcast and getting the word out there. So we really, really appreciate it. Once again, like we say every week, make sure you follow us on Twitter, TDRow1, and
David Fitz 4 for me, and for our YouTube where these podcasts are getting put out on is Troboat.
yes, Troboat, because I couldn't think of a better username in 8th grade. Also, you guys, if you have anything that you want us to talk about or anything you have questions about or anything we messed up on, you can go ahead and tweet those at us, and you can leave comments on the Facebook or on the YouTube video. That's probably the best way to reach us. So once again, thanks for tuning in very much. My name is Troy.
And my name is Dave, and let's go Cardinals.
Yeah, buddy.